What's up, guys? Ballin with Blizzy back with another video. This week on the PGA Tour, we have the Genesis Invitational back home where it belongs at Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades, California, after the devastating wildfires last year caused them to move it to a different location on tour. But back where it belongs, Tiger hosts this event. It's a signature event. Just 72 players in the field this week. There is a cut, albeit a slight cut. We'll get into that. We'll take a look at the course preview. We'll look at the odds on DraftKings, take a look at some course history. Of course, we will build a custom model over on rickrungood.com, and then we'll try to use that model to build a single entry DraftKings lineup. Last week, we did really well. We had Morikawa shouted, he won. We thought that was a perfect course for him to get right at Pebble Beach. We had Straka, and then I want to say we had somebody else that finished right inside the top 15, maybe Tom Hoagie. So we'll try to do it again this week, but let's get started by taking a look at the course preview over at Betsperts Golf. So here we are. We mentioned last year it was moved to Torrey due to the just insanely sad wildfires in the area that devastated a lot of not only buildings, businesses, but homes, of course, displaced people. You'll hear a lot about the unpredictable Kikuyu rough this week, fast greens. There is a lot of movement on these greens, so it is kind of going to be paramount to be precise with all parts of your games. I love that it says missing in the wrong spots places immediate pressure on a player's ability to save par. That's how this course is. I mean, even you look at the signature hole, the 10th hole, the par 4, the short par 4. Man, I have seen guys just make a mess of that hole because they always want to go for the green, but as soon as you're out of position, especially on a narrow green like the 10th with bunkers on either side, I mean, it can just be really just turn into a nightmare for guys if they get into the wrong spot, really on any hole on this course. Course features par 71, 7,300 yards. Not the longest course on tour, but it certainly feels like it in spots because of how the course is laid out. Shorter par 5s, but a lot of long par 4s. No water in play this week. The rough is going to be short, but still the Kikuyu could, give some guys some issues just depending on how your ball is lying. It can sort of definitely grab the club face. There's a lot of elevation changes here, which makes things interesting. Some holes will play even longer than they're designed to play. So again, that goes back to this course, just because, again, shortish par 5s. You have a short par 4, but then the rest of the par 4s are mammoths. There's even a couple par 3s in there that are going to be, sort of really difficult to play, 240, 230 yards, where you have to be really precise with your long irons. And then just with this course being one that features so many par 4s that are lengthy par 4s, you're going to have to be good with your long irons pretty much all throughout the premises. So we'll get into that when we build the custom model, but undulating fairways with fast POA green complexes, 7,500 square feet. So not as small as Pebble last week, but definitely still demanding. The course is actually averaging about a fifth of a stroke over par per round since 2019. So it says it's the 13th toughest course in the annual rotation. Very few statistical categories at Riv play easier than tour average. Second lowest driving accuracy and greens in regulation percentage. That means there's not a ton of people who are consistently both hitting the green or hitting the fairway and then hitting the green. So again, it's going to test all parts of your game. We know this is, again, another course that is going to lend itself to people who are familiar with it. They know where to play the ball. They know where not to make the huge mistake and then not to make the huge number, how to save par, how to avoid bogeys. So all that stuff's going to be important. But again, you're going to want to hit the fairway. You're going to want to hit the green. That seems, kind of common sense. But as at a course like this, if you don't do it, you're going to get punished. Whereas other courses, we can say it's important to hit the fairway, hit the green. But if you miss the fairway, maybe you can still hit the green. If you miss the green, maybe you can still get up and down and save par. This course, not like that at all. If we want to take a look at historical things, Patrick Cantlay, I've used him here a couple times in the past in one and dones and had good results. He tends to play well here. A 4th, a 15th, a 17th, a 15th, a 3rd, a 4th. Just once outside the top 30, once outside the top 17, if you really break it down. Adam Scott, ton of experience. He knows how to play this course well. Max Homa, of course, has a win and a runner-up here. Xander, a couple of top 10s, 5 top 15s. Hideki had that scorched earth round in 2024, the last time it was played here, when he shot like 9 under on Sunday to chase down a number of guys who were in front of him. We can break that down more by looking at true strokes gained over the years here. For guys that are in the field, Adam Scott Cam Young, almost 2.5 strokes gained per round. A runner-up, a T20 and a T16. Victor Hovland plays really, really well here. I think this course just suits what he likes to do. Almost 2.25 strokes per round. Colin Morikawa, again, a different course than last week, but with the confidence back in the way that he can hit his long irons, which we said are going to be important, and his historical rate of hitting the green in regulation, I think it's a really good week for Colin again. Not even going to pretend that, he cannot play well here. He's got a 19th, a 6th, a 2nd in the last 3 times it's been played here. Max Homa, we mentioned, a win and a runner-up, over 2 strokes gained per round. Xander, right above that threshold as well. If you're looking for Scottie Scheffler, he's down here at about 1.5. He has only once finished inside the top 8 with a 7th here in 2022, a 12th and a 10th the last 2 years. And it's hard to say because the 10th seems good on the surface, but it's only a field of 72 guys. So, it's not as strong as a 10th in a field of 144, a full field event. And again, as I mentioned, this is an event that does have a cut. However, your guy can really not play well and still make the cut because it's top 50 in ties out of the 72 and anyone within 10 strokes of the lead. So if the leader after 2 rounds is sitting at 8 under, your guy is going to make the cut at +2. Anybody else notable here? I don't think so. Again, it's all the top guys in the world. It's the signature event. They're playing for, almost 4 million again this week. So it's going to be the usual suspects up at the top of the leaderboard. So let's go to the odds. Take a look at those. Scottie Scheffler, again, as we've said each week, anytime he's in an event, he's going to be the favorite. Rory, 13-1. I don't know that I love this course for Rory this week. He's not just going to be able to simply overpower it and then get out of tough spots that his driver puts him in. So I don't know how I feel about that this week. I like guys like the Fleetwood mold. He's going to just try to keep it in play. He's kind of that Morikawa style player. He's going to hit a lot of fairways, try to hit a lot of greens, not going to drive the ball, the furthest in the field. I think you're getting a really good number on Colin again, especially, like I said, in a small field event. You're getting the 7th best odds. Yeah, there's 6 guys ahead of him. Russell Henley, Chris Gotterup, crazy to see that he's kind of a staple now in that 30-1 range. Siwoo Kim, I think he can play well again. He kind of tailed off last week after his hot start to the season, but I think again this course fits him well. He's going to hit a lot of fairways. He's very accurate with his long irons. It's just about keeping the ball in play and staying in position. Ludwig, man, it's sad to see him down here at 42-1 with 20 guys in front of him. I think this is a really good number on Hovland at 43-1. Straka, I'm going to continue to beat the drum for him because he's playing well in most statistical categories, as good as anybody in the world right now. 48-1 if you want to take a shot there. Batia played well a few weeks in a row now. And man, the fall of Wyndham Clark needs to be studied. Sahith Theegala, I don't think that's a bad number at 110-1 in this field. Corey Connors just does not have his game rolling right now. This is a guy that you would normally really, really like to say is going to play well here. Can probably turn it on at any minute, but 131, typically one of the most accurate drivers, one of the most accurate iron players. So again, shocking to see him down there at 130-1. Daniel Berger, maybe a mini version of that. Andrew Novak, I always like. Tom Hoagie, I think, could play well here. I wouldn't be surprised at all to play him, in a top 10 at 10-1 is remarkable. Top 5 at 25 to 1. I think there might be some noise from Tom Hoagie this week. So that is kind of how the odds board shapes out in a signature event, 72 players. So with that being said, let's jump over to rickrungood.com and try to bring to life what I've been talking about. So things that are always important to me, again, weighted strokes gained total over your last X amount of rounds. But I really want to hone in on the things that I think are important here. So driving distance, I don't think matters, but let's go fairways gained at 10. Let's go green in regulation at 10. Let's get some approaches in here from these ranges. I think those are going to be important this week. Greens gained. Yeah, greens in regulation relative. I think that's actually important this week. Let's go 10% there. Around the green, not too concerned with course history. I do want to give Riviera some love. 10% there. And then let's distill this down to bogey avoidance. I think is going to be huge this week. We've got the fairways, we've got the greens. Approach over your last 50. Let's give 10. And let's see what else we need. Bogey avoidance is important. I think par 5 scoring, you're going to have to score on these easy par 5s here. So let's give that 10. There we go. 10 there on strokes gained par 5. And then last 5, let's just do weighted strokes gained approach. Yeah, based on course strength. Perfect. Let's see where that gets us. So that vaults Scotty to the top with a grade of 96. No surprise there. Nobody within 14 points of him. Colin is 14.1 points behind him at a grade of 82. Just 2 guys grading out with an 80 or above. Matt Fitzpatrick surprisingly pops here. Not a guy I would have said was a perfect fit for this course. Siwoo, not surprised to see him. Tommy Fleetwood makes a ton of sense again. Henley, love to see Straka, especially at 7,800 again. Lowry, yes, I could see that. He's accurate for the most part off the tee, and then he is one of the best approach players. And then Hovland rounds out the top 10. Aaron Rai, I think it's a good price on him, 6,500. He is 11th rated in this model, 32nd in strokes gained total, 15th in weighted strokes gained approach. Not the best par 5 scorer, 33rd out of 72. That's probably has a lot to do with the fact that he's not a long hitter. 7th in greens in regulation. You love to see that. 13th from 200 to 225. 15th in strokes gained approach over his last 50. Just kind of middle of the pack. Course history here. Number 1 in fairways gained and 4th in greens gained. So Aaron Rai, I think, definitely makes any lineup that I'm going to build on DraftKings this week. Anybody else that stands out? Daniel Berger here at 16th. Corey Connors still in the top 20, probably based on his historical profile, even though he's not playing super well this week. But I think if we can start a lineup with Aaron Rai and Sepp Straka, that's going to give you some salary relief. I like to see JJ Spawn here at 7,500. He fits the type of golfer that should play well here. Not in the best form currently, but over the last, year and a half, probably last year, he's playing, really as well as anybody when you look at that run from the players through the U.S. Open last year. So 5th in weighted strokes gained total, 9th in strokes gained approach, 20th in par 5 scoring, 22nd in bogey avoidance, 28th in greens and reg, 38th and 35th from those distance ranges and approach. 16th approach over the last 50. Loses strokes here historically, so that's something to note. And then just 32nd in fairways gained, 18th in greens gained. So I don't know that Spawn is necessarily going to be a must for me this week. But I like that, again, I kind of mentioned Collins, Siwoo, Fleetwood, Straka. I think I'm kind of in tune with how the course should play and which guys can succeed here. So let's head over to DraftKings. Let's make it a point to get Straka and Rye in first and then kind of build around that. Not sure if we're going to get up to Scotty at 14-3 this week. So Rye and Straka, I like. Did not take long for DraftKings to correct that egregious mistake that I called out last week, having Colin Morikawa at 7,800. Obviously went on to win. He's right back in this range where he belongs. Hovland at 9. Lowry at 78 is going to be interesting. Where was he in that model? He was 9th. So you like to see that. And he's cheaper than Fitzpatrick, who surprised me a bit. We can throw Shane Lowry in there. How did he do last week? Yeah, just a quiet finish, T8 inside the top 10. So let's ride that. Now we're suddenly up to 9,300, and we can try to attack this range. I think Morikawa I want to go back to. I don't know where Cantlay fell in the model. I know he historically plays well at this course, but where is he in the model? 72.5. Where did that rank? Oh yeah, he was also in the top 10. So what does that leave us? He rates out top 10. He plays well at this course. That leaves us at 92 for Siwoo, who again, yeah, right at the top of the model. I like how that came together. Nice and simple. Aaron Rai, Sepp Straka, Shane Lowry, Colin Morikawa, Patrick Cantlay, and Siwoo Kim. I don't think we're giving up too much on the odds board with those guys. Rai, Straka, Lowry, Morikawa, Cantlay, Kim. So we've got Cantlay 6th, 26-1. We've got Morikawa 28-1. We've got Siwoo Kim 33-1. We've got Sepp Straka 48-1. And then Rai and Lowry. Lowry 72-1. And Rai way down here at 185. But I think, as I showed with that model, he does rate out well here. So that's going to do it for this week. I think that came together really nicely. I think that's a very, very strong lineup. You stay off of both Rory and Scotty, which probably gives you some leverage in a 72-man field. But I think you've got a ton of win equity with those 6 guys that we just built out. And they were all, within the top 11 in that custom model. So I really like the way that played out. Good luck to you guys in your one-and-dones this week, in your DFS, DraftKings, or FanDuel lineups. Let me know if there's a guy that is popping for you in the stats that you're looking at, something that catches your eye, a guy that you like the outright number on, whatever it may be. But good luck, win some money this week, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.